Hello everyone, once again warmly welcome you back to this channel. Thanks for checking in once again. From the last time I posted a video here last year in around September, whether you are exploring or watching for fun or you want to learn something new, it's a pleasure having you here. Stick around to the end because I'll be unleashing several things which you should not miss. Provided you decided to check in, then let us stick around to the end. I'm Emmanuel Kidudu. Today we are going to solve a real headache for teachers, tutors and school administrators, that is an automated report card system. We are going to use specifically Excel to build everything from scratch. This is not completely a new video, it is simply a continuation of one of the series of the videos which I made earlier last year in around September. So you can check through the video description just in case you find yourself on this part of the video. Check the video description and find the series of those videos which will be accompanied by this one, because we shall use even the former workbook that we used previously. However, what we are going to build today, it is a continuation of the other one, because previously we had stated something which records and stores marks for only one term. But can we extend the capacity of that application we developed beyond one term? That's what we are going to do today. Now, instead of taking a lot of manual time calculating grades, then writing repetitive comments, formatting report cards, what if I told you that 90% of that work can be done using Excel? If you follow the previous videos, the series of videos, they were like 5, and fortunately I combined it into one video which can handle all that work. Now this is fully a hands-on activity we are going to do. It is nothing like we are going to do any theory or another stuff. Now in the previous videos I was able to show how to automate calculations, to automate grades from raw scores, then generate personalized comments based on the performance, then create printer ready report cards where we can print one or print many, and then at the same time to save you a lot of time doing a lot of manual work. Now a link is associated to the video description where you will get access to the previous videos. Just visit the video description. You will find a series of those videos. Like I said, unfortunately I combined it into one video where you can get everything in about a 5-hour lesson. Now here we are not going to use any expensive software. Like I said, this is just pure Excel. Whether you teach 5 students or you're teaching 1,000 or thousands, trust me, this will be able to scale with you comfortably. The best part is you can download the template, because I'll put it in the description for you to follow along. Don't worry in case you're not an Excel expert, because we are not going to do a lot of advanced knowledge. We are going to do a small bit of the knowledge of Excel, and then we shall do writing a few macros, that is using VBA. Then I'll guide step by step. Just make sure you have at least Excel version 2010 or ahead of that, 2013, 16, 19 and beyond. Now if you're ready, let's get started. Now fortunately I'm working with Linux. In case you're working with Windows, your interface may not look just the same to this. I'm working with Linux, and here I decided to install Office, but that one we shall see it later. Let us go through a series of the steps that we shall be going through. Like I usually say, I introduced myself, those are my names, and we are going to do a VBA project. Now what are we going to do? We are going to explain the effect of rounding off in Excel. If you round off a value like we saw in the past video, you'll visit the video description. I'll add that video there. where we saw we tried to generate comments on a report card, but unfortunately it doesn't indicate all the comments. It reaches, like for example, it reached a value like 69, 70 to skip it. Now I realize that is an effect of rounding off, and that is what we are going to sort. Now, how do you download videos on YouTube? Somebody wrote a comment and said, I would prefer to have this downloaded local on my PC and I watch it. I think I may address that, may not go into much depth, but I'll try. Then copy the existing range to create. That's what we are going to start with. We are going to open this workbook, the one we built earlier in the first videos, and we shall use it to copy the existing range to create new terms, because we said we want to deviate from the idea of only having one term and we add more terms. Then format the sheets to look unique for different terms. That's what we shall do also. Then adjust the macros to accommodate 3 terms, whereby we shall hide some columns to display specific data. Then use the if function. We shall not use the one of inbuilt in Excel, we shall use the one in VBA to decide stroke activate terms. And then adjust mapping macros to 3 terms, then ensure code runs faster. Now I've brought in this because somebody said after merging all classes in one workbook and trying to run the code, it was freezing. However, we shall try to handle this also at some point. Now let us get started with the first item. I think this one. Let me come to my Excel. I'll create a new workbook here. A new workbook, and I'll operate in this. Now let us take, for example, I have 34.78, and then I have 79.6. Let us say I have such values, and then if I try to get the sum, of this value with this value, I'll get this value. Now I'll try to round off to the nearest I don't know whether it is the nearest to 0 decimal places in simple terms. So I'll round off to 0 decimal places because this is what we were trying to do in the report card previously. Like I said, I will add the link to the video in the description. Now if I try to use the sum, the if function, and I say if the value here, I wanted it to be some boundary value. Let me just try something. The value here in C3 is greater than or equals to 114, comma, and then what should we put? Let us put maybe an A, else put not valid. Just putting something simple. It is saying the formula, it was if the value is necessary is greater than or equals to this. I think it's not bring out the picture well. Maybe I'll have to open the workbook itself. That's where maybe I will show the idea well, not save anything. I think I'll have to come back on that one at some point. Then I'll explain this. Actually, I'll explain these two at once. Maybe I may put it at the end of this video. I'll have to check, and I'll see where to put it. Now let us go direct to copying the existing range to the rest. Like I said, we are using this workbook we developed earlier. We are just making a continuation. Now you may see this one may look a little different. Like I said, I'm using Linux, and on Linux we use the LibreOffice Calc. So for me to use the Office, I had to install three programs which had to help me use this. I had to install Play on Linux, Then also I need to install WinBind. So WinBind, that's what helped me to have Office on Linux. So in case you need to have Office on Linux, you can decide to check out on YouTube. People have videos about how to install Linux on how to install Office on Linux, because Office is not a native app on Linux because it's for Windows. However, you can have it on your Linux by simply installing these two softwares, these two dependencies, Play on Linux and WinBind. Okay, let us proceed straight away. Now, what are we going to start with? Let me first unhide these sheets because they are hidden. I go to File, Options, then I go to Advanced, and I'll come down and I go to Show Sheet Tabs. I'll check this box and I click OK. So I'll have access to all these sheets down here. So I'll come back to this sheet. This is term, this is year. Let me also center it. Let me add a section of I think it's okay. I'll use term and year. Now, what is the instance here? Here we're making an entry point, that is for senior 1, where you only enter marks for only one term. Now, can we extend this so that we are able to capture marks for 3 terms? That's what we are going to do. The first thing, I'll also start by because here we had to hide some sheets so that we are able to access these ranges with ease. What I'm going to do, I'm going to first of all unhide every sheet. Let me go to developer. If you don't have the developer tab in the menu, come to File, then Options, then to come Customize Ribbon, then place a check mark on developer, then click OK. So I'll come to developer, then I go to Visual Basic. Now unfortunately mine may misbehave a little because I'm not working with Windows, but we shall move on. Now I'll come to where I wrote these macros. I think I must have written them in a module. I think it must be this module where this one was hiding all the first columns which we are using. So I'll turn this back to false, and then I'll run this. If I run this, you'll have to open all the sheets. I'll go to View, then I'll turn on the header. I don't know whether this size is okay, but I hope it is okay. Then for the side of VBA, I'll have to make an adjustment. This font is too small. Let me go to Tools, then Options, then I'll go to Editor Format, then I'll increase the size, something like 14. Let me see, 14 it might be okay. Okay, this is fair. Okay, so this is the range. This is the range which is having the current term up somewhere here, just in case these are the subjects for your school. I'll have to mark here. Let me use light green. So this is one term. This is data for one term, entirely for one term. This one here. Now what if I want to extend the functionality to something bigger? That's when we have to introduce in the new idea. I'm going to drop on table. Now, did you know that if you open, let me go to File, that's where I've just gone, then Options, then I'll go to Formulas, then I'll use this option, row 1 column 1 reference style. I'll click OK. Now, do you know that if you come and check this workbook in sheet S1, do you know that we have a good number of rows? Let us start in this row, then hold Ctrl and the arrow key pointing to the left. I think it may require to press it several times. Do you know that we have about 16,384 columns? Now, if you look at this, we have only utilized, how many have we utilized? We have utilized a very small portion. Let me have a look. It goes up to somewhere here. We have only used 84 out of 16,000. Hold Control and the arrow key pointing to the left. You'll be able to find the last column. 16,000 columns. Now we have only used 84. What about the rows? Hold the Control key and click the arrow pointing down. You'll be able to find the last row. 1,048,576 rows. How many have we used? I'm sure if you're having 500 learners, they will end somewhere here out of the 1 million. And that is one of the features we want to exploit this in this lesson. Now what are we going to do? We are going to first of all select the whole of this range from this term. Hold Control Shift and the arrow key pointing to the left. You'll be able to, pointing to the right, not left, you'll be able to select all the active occupied cells. After selecting them, okay, you may decide to select them in your own way by simply dragging through up to the end of this, up somewhere there. You may decide to drag through like that, and then go to the ribbon and copy. After copying, now we shall take, this is one term. After copying, I'll come and stand in this cell. That is, actually, let me turn back to the format of ABC. I wanted us to just see that style. I go to formulas, then remove a check mark here and click OK. So I'll come back. I hope what I've copied has already gone out of the clipboard. I'll select again. Like I said, instead of dragging through, you can simply use the shortcut Control Shift and the arrow key pointing to the right. You'll be able to select that range, then I'll copy and I'll paste it here. So I'll say this is my second term, and I'll say second term. I'll expand this. Now I started very quickly. I would like to thank those people who have developed their own programs. Actually, some people have even developed something which is more smarter than what I demonstrated here. So it's a pleasure when I see people doing those projects and taking them to the next level. So you can build even as far as where we have ended, because I usually just give a sample of what we intended to cover, and then the rest people can go outside there and explore. So I created the first term. I've just thanked those people who have done the great work. So I know some people might be selling some good money outside there. You tap on me and also give me some coins also. Okay, anyway, let us proceed. I'm going to come and say this is second term, but where is first term? Wait a minute, let me come and label this. I'll come and put here, let me put it here, and I say term 1, just in case this is term 1 2025. And what I'll do, I'll select this cell because it's going beyond and I don't want to increase the cell width. What I'm going to do, I'm going to select this, then I go to wrap text so it comfortably sits there. Then I'll go to the next one, and I'll also do the same. I'll say this is the second term. Let me use the same words. Let me use term 2 2025. Okay, and also select this cell and go to wrap text and center it. So I'll also copy this range at the same time up to the last somewhere here. I'll copy, but first let me format this. Either there's a separator between the terms, I'll use a different color blue. Label cannot be emptied. I'll use a different color blue, and I'll say term 3 2025. I'll also do the same by wrapping text and also centering it. Okay, let me do the same. I'll use Ctrl Shift and the arrow key pointing to the left. I'll select only this range, so you can play with the arrow key pointing to the right and the arrow key pointing to the left while using Ctrl Shift shortcut. I'll paste that. I'll come at the end. So this one will be for term 3. This range will be for term 3 2025. This is term 2, and then this is term 3 2025. So you can come and proceed and put I'll use a different color, something like this. Then I say, let me put the font to be white, and I'll say term 1 2026. Remember, we have very many rows proceeding to the right, so which means we can use those rows to do whatever we want. And then I'll also copy exactly the same range. Copy the same range using the shortcuts. You're able to select the most, should I say the most? Yes, actually the occupied cells with data. Simply when you select this cell, then hold Ctrl and Shift and the arrow key pointing to the right, you will select the data up to the last occupied cell, and the last occupied cell is in LE. Now we can proceed with this pattern until you can even add data for 5 years. If this is 2026, you proceed. Remember, we are going up to XFD. We are just still in column LE. You see, we are still in column LE, somewhere this way. So which means we still have a lot of space to add more content. Now what matters is now optimizing the macros, not to use a lot of memory space on your PC. That's what we are going to look at also. Now let us come back and we look at this. This was from G through CE. I think that is what we had done. Now this one may misbehave because I'm not on Windows, but we shall work with it. I went up to DE. Now I have to minimize that because I'm going up to CE. Here I'd gone as far up to DA. No way. I'm going to go up to CE, column CE. I'm going to hide that. This one will be misbehaving because, like I said, I'm not on Windows. So I'll say the first range is from column G through CE. That's the first range, and then another range proceeds from there. So what are we going to do? We are going to again do the formatting for these other cells, because there's no formatting in these other terms. I'm going to come and do formatting at once, and I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to come up to where I've ended. I'll select this or any of these cells, and I'll go to Format Painter. Actually, yes, I'll go to Format Painter, but I prefer to double click such that I use it on different ranges. So I'm going to start from here, and I'll go all the way through up to the last term in LE. So I'll scroll down. I think the previous one had gone up to 200. Let me slide up to 200. I'll slide back. Remember, I first selected the first cell up here. I selected the first cell here. So I'm going to go to the last cell I wish to format. That is LE 200. Must be somewhere here. LE 200. I'll move through that line. I think somewhere here. Now hold Shift and select here. Select in this area. I hold Shift and select here because I had first of all selected something up this way. Now how does the shift work? In case I'm in this cell, I would like to select maybe up to here. I only hold the shift and select over here, select this cell, then hold the shift and select the last area where you wish. If I'm in this cell, can hold the shift and select down this way. If I'm this way, can hold the shift and select over this way, and select this range without dragging through. Select the first one, hold the shift, select the last one you wish to use. So after doing the formatting, I think that job is done. That's when we are going to go to the next part, because we said after doing this one, I said we shall come back to it. We shall come back to this, copying the existing range to create new terms. We have created new terms successfully. Then format the sheet to look unique for different terms. I think I've not done it that much, but at least I've separated with green, term 2, term 3. I need to change this back to blue. I need to change back to blue, not font but color, make it blue again. So this is term 3, starts from this way, starts from here going to the right. Then term 1 2026, I'll also change the color to, I think I use this one. So I can keep on separating like that different terms, yeah, by simply using different colors like that. Then I paste here a new category. I'll select this last cell, hold Ctrl Shift, the arrow pointing to the left. I'll select up the last occupied cell somewhere here. I'll copy this, come to the last cell and paste it over here. Okay, anyway, so this one can be term 2 2025. I'll also center it, wrap text and center it. Okay, so we are done with that step, formatting the sheet for different terms. Then let us go and adjust the macros to accommodate 3 terms, hiding some columns to display specific data. Now I'm going to do for only 2025. You can extend the functionality beyond 2025. Now I'll come to where 2025 data ends. This is term 3. Term 3 comes up to somewhere here, up to IF. So what am I going to do? Come back to our macros. Like I said, it will be misbehaving, it's not very stable. Let me go to developer, then Visual Basic, it can't turn. Let me go back here. Now I'll go and adjust this from G to CE. I'm going to hide the entire range up to IF. No, I'm going to hide up to IE, because I intend only, this is for 2026. In case I need to increase, then I'll have to hide even the rest to the right. So what am I going to do? I'm going to hide up to IE. I'll come back to my Visual Basic editor. This one misbehaves. I'm not on Windows, but you shall bear with it. At some point it can even decide to close up to IE. I'm going to remove this and replace with IE. So I'm going to say columns this through column G through IE dot hidden is equals to false. Let me turn it to true. Then we shall run it. But first, I want to remain with only what I'm going to use, which means I'm going to remove all this format. I'm going to use Ctrl Shift and select to the right, select to the extreme right up to the last row, sorry, the last column. Then use, while still holding the Ctrl and Shift, and I'll select down to the last row in this sheet. Then I'll go to Home and go to Clear All. I want to remain with term 1, term 2, term 3 for 2025 up to IE somewhere here. Actually, I'll even clear all for this. Select the whole column, then clear all. So I'll remain with only up to IE. So if I go back and run, this one will misbehave, but we shall bear with it. Let me click again. It's saying it doesn't accept. Let me go to the ribbon. Well, anyway, it has accepted. Then I'll run this, so it will hide everything, hide all the columns. So what are we going to do? We are going to come back going to come back to Visual Basic Editor. So I can mean to misbehave. I don't know what is this problem. I'm going to make this back to false. Now the intention is we shall hide the entire range. Actually, hide all the terms. I'm going to just edit this. Like I said, I will supply this workbook in the video description, and you'll be able to access it and use it just in case you wish to proceed from where I've ended. Now hide all the terms. That is term 1, 2, and 3. So after hiding all, that's when we are going to start playing with everything. Now we are going to first identify where this data will be hiding. But first we are going to create decision area here. We call it decision area. Now in this decision area, we are going to decide whether we are going to use the first sheet, in admin, and find this cell whether it is having term 1, term 2, or term 3. Then we shall adjust accordingly. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to go back to our Visual Basic Editor, and we are going to do this. We are going to write and say sub. I'm going to call this decider function. I'm going to call it decider function. In this decider function, I'm going to first of all define a range using dimension, and I'm going to call it term range. I prefer to use an underscore. Term range as range. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and set the term range. Set term range equals to this workbook dot sheets. I don't know how we call it, this sheet. I think we call it sheet details. Let me see. We call it sheet details because I want to find this range. Sheet details. Turn back to Visual Basic. Sheet details. Write the name exactly the way it is. Dot range. Dot range. In which range is it found? It is in range B11. Turn back to my Visual Basic Editor, and I say dot range B11. So that is the range I want to use. So I'm going to simply say decide and say if term range equals to 1. Which category, which type of figures did I use? I used Romans and in capital. So I'll go back to Visual Basic. I'll say if term range is equals to 1. Now what am I saying? I'm saying if this range, the one I named, if this range, the one I named, is equals to 1, what should I say? Then I'll display message box, and I say message box, and I say you have chosen term 1 data. Okay, what if it is not term 1? Else if term range, I'm just going to repeat this, is equals to term 2. I may go faster because of to lessen, to at least reduce the length of the video. I'll just copy this message box. I'll use it here, and I say message box, you have chosen term 2 data. Just writing something like that. You can do something, can change something else different from this. Else if term range equals to 3, okay, Okay, and then we shall also display message box and say this is term 3 data. What if you have not chosen anything? What should it say else? Shall I say message box? Message box. We shall say no term has been chosen or the term range is empty. Okay, I have to change something here. I said term range. This is this workbook.sheets details.range b11. Now I want to change something here, and I say, because I need to get the value dot value, and I have to say dot value, also say dot value. We are just trying to extend to make sure we accommodate everything. Now I've used 1, 2, 3 if statements. I'll also come and close this and say and if, sorry, this is end. I pressed insert, and if, then I'll also close another and if from the 3 if statements I used, and if, then also do and if here. Okay, so after writing this, I'll now come back to these macros. Now I'm going to hide the entire range from term 1 to term 3. Then I will be displaying one by one, and this is what I'll be using. If this range is term 1, what should be shown and what should be left out? That's what we are going to figure out from here. So I'm going to say, I'm going to leave this because this is hiding all. I'm going to come back here, and this is where I'm going to use this code. I'm going to use it inside here. So I'm going to say this was for term 1. I'm going to put a comment and say term 1 range. So let us go to term 2. This was English, and we wrote as ENG. So we are going to go back to this sheet. Term 2, I think it's still hidden. Let me turn back to my Visual Basic. Let me turn this back to, because I said this false. Let me run it. So I'll unhide it. Now English was in the range G through M. Okay, G through M. So that was term 1. Let us put for term 2. We shall just copy the same code, some macros, can call it macros or code whatsoever. This was term 1. Now let us find term 2. Term 2 English is from CG through CM. Shall go back and say it is from CG through CM. Okay, this is term 2. What about term 3? Shall just paste this again, then I'll go back and find, this is term 2 range. Go back and find term 3 somewhere here. English is from FG through FM. English is from FG through FM. What are we doing? We are trying to simply exploit this large number of columns which are redundant. Shall come back and say this is term 3 range. So this is where we are going to now do the rest. I think we shall go to mass. We shall also do the same. I'll just copy this, I'll just manipulate it again, and I paste it here. Then I'll copy this. Now I'll do for 3 subjects, and if you're doing yours down there, you can now manipulate it for the rest of the subjects. I'll duplicate for the 3 terms. I said it's term 2, this is term 3. Now these are the ranges where this content is found. So if you go to mass for term 2, I think term 1 is okay. Go to mass for term 2. Actually, you can even change this formatting such that it is unique. I'll select that range and change the color to anyway, let me use this as term 2 so that you're sure where you're moving from. Now select this and change the color also to let me use orange. So that is better. Let me go to term 2 so that I will know this color is term 2 and the other one is term 3. So I'll go to mass. Mass is starting from term 2. Term 1 is sorted. Term 2 is started from CN to CT. Term 2 is starting from CN to CT. CN to CT. I think it might be following that pattern. And then the other one, term 3, if this one was C, actually it jumped a very big range. Let me go back to Excel. Let me go to term 3. Term 3 starting from FN through FT. FN through FT. Just come back and say FN through FT. Okay, and it's looking like it is taking that trend C and F. If it is taking that trend, then it will be easy for me to manipulate. I'll just copy this again, paste it over here as a comment, then I'll copy this and we shall manipulate for a couple of subjects. This is C through CA. This is term 2. Now it's good to add comments such that in case you're working some days later after developing the project, you will not get lost yourself. Term 3. Let us just verify. This is biology. We are saying it is in CU through CA. Term 2. Biology term 2. Somewhere here. It is in C. Term 2 biology CU through. It goes up to CU through DA. Let me see what it is saying here. We said CU through, no way, this is DA, not AA, this is DA. Okay, that is okay. Then we can do the same. I think copying and pasting is allowed. It helps you to work faster. Paste this one here, copy this range, paste it over here, paste it again. Then I'll change this to 2, change this to 3. I'll change this one is now, this one will now be, now I should check and verify again. This is physics, is in AB through AH. I think the next one is in, we start with term 2 physics, is now in DB. I must have messed up somewhere here. I think somewhere here. What is this? CU through let me check this again. It is U through DA. And then it can't be CDA. No way. Let me check again. Biology term 2. Biology term 2. I think I'm just in term 2 here because I used that color to identify term 2. It is in CU through DA term 2. That is okay. Then what about term 1? Term 1 biology is in U through AA. That is okay. So which means I'm supposed to come and let me switch back. going to come and change this to CA, not DA. Okay, this is AA. I've just checked again. U through AA, then CU through CA, then FU through FA. Something like that. We shall verify while it is running. This one will be, it is AB through AH. Then the next one is physics for term 2. I better double check before I do something crazy here. This is physics is from DB through DH. DB through DH. Then third term, I think if you're following, you can see the pattern. Term 2, term 3 is from GB through GH. GB through GH. It is GB through GH. Okay. Anyway, this one is done, so you can proceed with the same, putting for 3 terms. Find the right range, then you can come and fix it here. So we are going to come back to the first one. I've demonstrated for English, Maths, Biology and Physics. So I'll come back for English, and this is the code I'm going to use. I'm going to copy this, all of this. Actually, not even copy. I'm going to cut it out because I don't need it again. I just created it to start my area of work. I'm going to post it here. I'm going to post it here. One single space is enough. So I'm going to post it here, and we are going to say if term1.range.value, term range.value is equals to 1. We are now saying if a user has changed this to 1, because here it's a drop down, you can keep switching the terms. We are saying if a user has changed it to 1, what should happen? If a user has changed the term range, this one here we define this workbook.sheets details.range this. If he has changed it to 1, what should happen? We shall first display message box. We have chosen term 1, or we have selected term 1. Okay, let it just be like that. You can change to something else, and then it will show this range. It will show this range to say you've chosen term 1, and then this range we are going to say columns this dot hidden equals to false. We are now going to unhide this range, but first we are going to start with calling this function we wrote over here, hiding everything. So it hides everything, then unhide only this range, GM. So what if it is term 2? The same thing. Shall just copy this range, the one we have already made, and paste it over here. So we are saying if that range is now twisted to term 2, it should display term 2. What if it is term 3? Shall just cut this out, and I'll use it here. Okay, so what am I going to say? I'm going to say if this range is that, then display that. If it is that, display that. Then I will assign, remember this macro is already assigned English. From here we had already assigned this macro. Let me twist back to the left. We had already assigned this macro by right clicking on this English button, then go to assign macro, then look for the English macro. It is here, and click OK. So by simply clicking on it, it will be able to hide and unhide both terms. We just come and have to twist here on the details sheet, just change to term 2, and you'll have to change dynamically. Meanwhile, we did a different formatting for term 1. Oh wait, term 1 is using this color, this range is using this color, then term 2 is using this color. Let me use a stronger color which is easier to identify. Let me use red, and the font color will be better if it is white. Wait, am I doing the font color or something else? Font color, let me make it white. Let me go to term 3, select the whole range, I'll also come and change this, which color is let me use black, and I use the font color white. Okay, so term 3 will be identified by black, term 2 will be identified by red, term 1 by yellow, something like that. Then I can also add some color here. I can use some orange. So what am I going to do? We are proceeding. We are here. We shall first test this and see how it works. Okay, I wanted to use message boxes, but like I said, I'm not working natively on Windows, so which means some things may misbehave, like I'd apologized earlier, which means I'll have to comment this out. Message boxes have refused to function, so I'll comment them out, then I'll try to work with this. Let me go back to this sheet S1 and I try to find English. It's saying term 1 range. Okay, I have to correct something here because I'm no longer using term 1 range. I don't know, let me try to use this again. Let me try to use this again. Let me try to use this range. Let me turn this back to term 1 range dot value. This, and try to run this again. We try to run term 1 again. Saying compile can't find this library, which means I'll have to change something here. I'll have to change, sorry. Working with this is not easy. Let me change this range, and I use it here rather than this. Let me use it here, I use it here. I'll comment this comment this and this, so which means I'll remain with this. Let me see if this will work well. Come to English. Okay, message box is still down here. Let me comment this message box out also. I'll go back, also find English. Okay, there's something again. It's still in break mode. Let me come back and remove break. If I try to find English, and I'll find English for term 1. It hasn't been easy. So since I'm not working natively on Windows, some things, but I pray you get the idea well. You can flash a message box, you can use ranges like we had used, then you can use message boxes and ranges. Message boxes simply show the user that you're currently actively running this, or you're going to run this, or you're going to do this. So I've plainly used this range.sheet. It has even refused to work with the named range, so which means I have to go manually by defining a workbook and then the value within which a value might be found. So we shall come back and say that was term 1. If this is term 1, remember we are stating conditions and saying if B11 is term 1, then hide this range. Remember we are starting with the hide all, then I hide this range. Actually, anyway, so that's what we are doing. If I turn this to term 2 and I come back to this sheet and I click English again, remember it's the same macro we assigned to the English button, this one here. If I click on English again, it will shift to the one of term 2. If I change this to term 3 and I come back to the report and I click on this button, remember this very button is the one I assigned. I right clicked and I assigned the macro of English, sorry, the function of English, and I clicked OK. So whenever I click on it, it checks whether the value existing here, if it is term 1, it will come and show term 1. If it is term 2, term 2, just come and change. It will come and show term 2. So this works like a breaking point where we set the full functionality of everything we want. So we shall go to mathematics and the rest, come back to the Visual Basic Editor, and we go to mathematics. I've commented a couple of lines here. Now unfortunately I made a mistake to edit it before I would paste it in other locations, but anyway, let me paste it here again. If I paste it here again, I'll remove this. Because I'm going to replace it with the ranges of biology. I'll also remove this. The ranges of biology are here. What else should I remove? I think it is okay. I'm still checking in B11, then I adjust the subject where the user will enter marks. Remember, the sheet we are dealing with is where the user enters marks. Paste this here. Copy this. Sorry, I'll cut it out. Paste it here. Cut this out. Cut this out. Paste it here. Now remove this too much excess space. Leave that. It is okay. So biology, I'll also go and assign biology function to the button with biology. Biology is here. Right click, assign macro. Biology is here. Click OK. So if currently it is term 2, it will show the range of biology for term 2. Click on biology. It will show the range of biology for term 2, but unfortunately some ranges are not well selected. Let us sort this out. Let me go back to the macros. Let me first of all unhide everything. Set this to false. Then I'll run. So I'll come back to biology for term 2. Biology term 2 is starting from CU through DA. Okay, let me go and change that. Term 2 biology. Oh, where did I go? Oh, okay, I'm on biology. Actually I skipped maths, but I'll come back to it. Biology for term 2 is okay. This is where the mess is. This is term 2. It is the one which is starting from CU through DA. I hope it is correct. Biology, it is CU through DA, not CA, because it was going backwards again. And then I think term 3 is okay. Let me go and check. Term 3 biology starting from FU through GA. Actually it was also going to go backwards. This is from FU through GA, not FA. It was going backwards actually. So I think we have rectified that. Let's go back and check again, but first let us turn this back to true so that it hides everything. Come back, scroll to the left. If it is English, if it is biology, this is term 2. Remember, we have term 2 selected here. It is term 1, and you come back and select English, shift term 1. If it is biology, it shows term 1. Remember, term 1 is the one formatted with this color. If it is term 3, try English, shows the one in black. It is biology, it shows the one in black. Term 3, you just come and twist the term and come and find a new area. Now a question may be, what if you want to extend this beyond the 1 year? Shall come back to this sheet and identify this is B10. Shall also come and say down here, shall come and say, sorry, this one will misbehave, but I'll also keep figuring it out until shall come here and say if sheet this is equals to, sorry, if this sheet dot range this is equals to 1. Before I even go further, I'll copy this and I say and sheet details dot range b10 dot value is equals to, I'll now change this. Now I use the quotes because I use the I Romans, so being a string I have to enclose it behind quotes, sorry, inside quotes. So we are saying this workbook dot sheet this dot sheet details dot range b10 dot value is equals to 2025. Okay, I can even decide to wrap it in quotes, there's no problem. Then what should we do? We should minimize this range, so which means we shall also come and say this range also, and this workbook dot range that equals 2025, such that we shall also go and add 2026. We define a term, we define a year, we define a term, we define a year, and we define the range we need it to display, something like this. Meanwhile, it is dropping in my background, just in case the sound is not clear. I will apologize, but we shall proceed. So you will keep defining the year and proceeding and saying if this is 2025 and term 1. First of all, it will come and test, is it term 1? And at the same time, is it the year, is it 2025? If it is 2025, then well, let me show this range. At the same case, it will proceed. If it tests and says this is term 2, it finds in this range, it is term 2. And then the year is 2025. We shall keep 2025 throughout, then show the range. If it is now 2026, that's when we shall proceed to this other side and also display the ranges which you have added this side. Okay, I think you may be getting the idea, just in case you're following keenly. So using the AND keyword, we are able to add more years, term 1 2025, term 1 2026, term 1 2027, even as far as 5 years, because we saw that this sheet only accommodates over 16,000 columns. So which means there's a lot you can store in one sheet, like the sheet I'm on, S1. So, and at the same time, this workbook can accommodate up to 200 something worksheets. So which means there is enough working space in case you need it to do more. So we shall come back. It's only up to maximizing the code, that's when you achieve the best. So I'll come back to, I finished biology, let me come back to maths. Remember I skipped maths. Come back in between here, I'll copy the whole of this line, then I'll paste it over here. Actually, it would be better if I use this route all these as a, let me use this because I'll be sharing this very line of code in the description so somebody can follow. So you can say that if it is term 1 and 2025, so you can make, if it is term 2 and 2026, what should it do? I hope somebody will not get lost on that one. So this is all 2025. It is term 1 2025, term 2 2025, like that. And then I'll also do the same for this one, like this. I'll do the same for this one, like this. So I'll come and demonstrate for only English. If it is 2026, what if we have subjects in 2026, what happens? So I'll come back to biology, sorry, maths, which I just added. I'll remove this line, this range, remove this range, remove this range. Now I replace it with these new ranges. I'll cut this out, place it here, and I'll cut this out, and I'll place it here. I'll as well cut this out, and I'll place it here. Okay. I hope it will match comfortably. This was CN through CT. I hope I didn't go backwards. Then this is FN through FT. I think this will work well. So the macro, the function is mass. So I'll come back to my report, to my entry sheet in S1. I'll go to mass, where the mass button is MTC. I will come and right click and then assign macros. I will assign mass function and click OK. So currently it is term 2 selected, so it must take us to term 2. If I select mass, we are still in term 2, which was red. If I select English, it will take us to term 2, which was red. Biology, because are done for those subjects. If I turn to the year is still 2025. If I turn to term 3, if I come back, select mass, just take me to the area having mass. Now the question is, what if it is 2026? We shall come back and improve the code here. I will try for English, like I said. I think the idea you're getting the idea well, just in case you're following keenly. So we only have to make these ranges, create these ranges, and then come and place a decision and say if this workbook and finds a range, in this range that the value is 1. I used Romans. You may decide to use the real one word. I might decide to use a Roman 1, Roman 2, but in capital letters or uppercase. I think you can apply the rest to the rest of the subjects. The first function remains, and then you create the next for term 1. Sorry, this for term 1, term 2, and term 3. So I'll come back and sample for 2026. I'll come back down here and I proceed from here. I'll come back and proceed from here, and I will say, I'll copy this and say, if this is term 1, sorry, I'll copy the one for term 1. If this range B11 is carrying term 1, I'll paste it over here. Actually, let me create something here, a comment, and I say storage for 2026. So those ranges will be empty. At the time when you want to fill it, that's the time, let us say it is now 2026. It will be empty for you, but the previous ranges already have their marks. Remember, we have 16,000 columns in one worksheet, so which means we can exploit that advantage to store a lot of data. We are going to say in 2026, we're going to say if this worksheet details dot range b11 dot value is equals to 1, and I'm going to just use this, and I'm going to even copy, and then I'm going to paste it here, and this worksheet details dot range, this is now 2026 is equals to 2026, and then what should happen? I'll drop this down. What should happen? I'm also going to hide and unhide some columns. Now it is term 1 2026. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy for term 1 and I paste it here. So I'll come back and make this false again, then I'll run it. So I'll come back to this range and I'll add 2026. I'll set term 1. I'm just sampling everything such that people get it correctly, in case you want to proceed doing something bigger. Wrap text and center it. So I'll copy this, Control C to copy, and I'll come at the end here. I'll paste it here. This column is a separator. Paste it here. I'll paste, but this time around I'll not paste with the formatting. Come and click on the paste button, drop down arrow below it. If you click on this button, it will paste directly. Click on the drop down arrow, then click on paste values only. Then I can format them differently, because I need this different here. Maybe I need a color like that, something like that. Then a separator, I'll separate it using a different color like this. So I'll find English. In which range is English? in which range is English. English is in IG through IM. So what am I going to do? I'm going to increase the hidden range. I'm going to hide up to LE. I'll come back to my Visual Basic Editor, and I'll say I'm going to hide up to I said is it LE, something like that. Let me find it again. Up to LE. Then English for term 1 2026 is here, IG through IM. I'll turn back to VBA. Like I said, I'm using Linux just in case it is misbehaving. We shall bear with it. So we are going to hide, why am I forgetting, IG through IM. I'm going to hide IG through IM. IG through IM, something like that. So this is term 1 2026. I'll copy this very range the way it is, and I'll say else. What if it is not term 1? What should it do? But meanwhile, I'll first exit this function immediately it finishes that. I'll paste this. This is if I didn't copy I. I'll copy this and I change this range. This is term 2 now. But if it is term 2 2025, this is the capital I. I'll also exit sub. Else, we are continuing. Else, I'll paste it again. This is the I. If it is term 3 2026, remember the year here is 2026. So we shall go and find, hey, I only made for term 1. This is term 1 2026. What if it is also term 2? What happens? So here I'll leave it empty, go back and leave it empty because I only made for term 1. I'll go and leave comment this and comment, sorry, what am I commenting? I better comment, well, I'm commenting for term 1. Let me comment this out. I remain with term 1 2026. So I'll go back and make this true again. Then I run. So I'll come back to this details sheet and turn this to term 1 because I don't have term 2 and term 3 2026. Term 1 and turn to 2026. If I come back to this file, I only made it for English. I must be able to be taken there. Oh, I made a mess. I wrote the if statements. I added more 3 if statements. There's an error here. Remember, I was continuing. I was supposed to say else if first. Then here I have to use more 3 if statements because I used more 3 if statements. Let me use more 3 and if statements to close that. Something like that. So I'll come back to the report and I click on English. So this is 2026. Remember we formatted it with this blue background. This is 2026. And additionally, you can add on top and say this is 2026. I don't know. You can add something which can help you identify that this is 2026. But when you've set a breakpoint here, you only turn the term here. Let me turn to term 2. If I turn to term 2, it will not show anything because I didn't write the code for term 2. What if it is 2025 and I click English? It will take me back the side. If I click maths, if I click biology, something like that. So you keep adjusting the code. To accommodate exactly what you wish from here, just playing with these statements. So that was how can we keep the data for 3 years. Now another question comes. You can do the rest and cover up the rest. Now before we proceed, we can pause a little. Kindly please consider subscribing, like this video because there is still more content. Like I said, for my present only project based approach content. So pause, like, subscribe, share with a friend, because this is knowledge. Another person can turn into a big project, even a source of income, something like that. So after we have twisted this, successfully, the report card now. I think we wrote the macro for the report card here, where we said we are going to find this class S1, and then this is the macros. So we are going to also manipulate this, and it does what we want. Now here we did for print 1, I think I didn't add this, but you can say this was print card. Then the one for print multiple, I think it was here. Was it this one? Hope I added it somewhere here, where we required to print multiple. Not even this one. I think this one was we're able to print multiple. So we are going to do is shall use print 1, then the same idea can be just transplanted to printing multiple. So we're also going to start by create a decider function up here. So I'll say sub decider function. Sorry, remember functions should not have spaces. For print, I've called it like that. You can give you the different name. So we are going to come back and still use the same logic like we have used it this way. Actually, I may be forced to come and copy this code. And I'll utilize it here. But I'll modify it. In case you want to focus on more terms, you can add this. But for me, for now, I'm going to remove it so that I don't have a lot of things to look at. I'll remove this also, like this, something like that. So I'll come back and say, yes, I have to tab this in. Come back and say, if this workbook.sheet details.range that is equals term 1, what are we going to do? Actually, I'm going to rub off this, and I will also rub off this. I'm not going to hide anything now. Okay, my decider function, if it is term 1, we now want to print report card specifically for term 1. I'm going to come and change this. How did I write this? I wrote it differently, but I'm sure people had to figure it out. Now I'm going to change this, and I say I'm going to change this to term 1. Let me remove this. Term 1 transfer macros. Why did I put a space? There's no space there. Macros. Okay, this term 1. So I'll also create the same for term 2, and the same for term 3, and the same for the coming year. Now for us to optimize and make sure it doesn't use a lot of space, this is what we are going to do. Whenever there is actually, we shall look at that maybe later on. I pray we have some time to look at it. So I'm going to copy this code, all of this, without the print report function. Actually, I'll cut it and I come and paste it down here. I think this was a comment. I left out the code. Where did I leave a code? Wait a minute. while trying to copy, I might have left out something on top here. Okay, this one here. Let me select the whole of this. Let me select down here, hold shift and I click behind this way, select everything and I cut it out. So I'll paste it down here. Then this is for term 1. Term 1. Paste for term 2. I'll change its name. Remember, in the same module, two functions cannot have the same name. In the same module, two functions should not have the same name. Okay, so I'll change this to term 3. Only this term 3. So what are we going to do? Let me first explain this. Let me start with term 1. Term 1 macros are okay because they were transferring marks from. Let me turn this to term 1. Term 1. Let me find English. They were getting these marks from term 1 and taking the S1 report card, populating them here. Actually, what I was explaining was here. I will come back to it at some point. S1, it was getting these marks from S1 and posting them here from this range, these ranges H and others. But term 2, things have shifted. Things have shifted. The data has been increased to these other columns to the right, so which means we shall have to find those columns, we record them, and we change the macros here. This is term 1, and this is term 2. So these are the term 2 macros for transferring the data. So what will I do? I'll come and first in this area for term 1. If it gets when this is term 1 in this range B11, the value there is 1. So I'll call this function here. I'll copy it and I'll say call this one here, this function. I'll call this function. I'll run this function here. If it gets when B11 has Roman 1. What if it gets when B11 has Roman 2? I'll call this function. I'll copy this and then I'll come and paste it here. I'll come and call this function here. Then the same thing, I'll call the one for term 3 here. Just come and change this to term 3. So after that, we shall now come and term 1 is okay. Term 2 is the one we should adjust. The first ones are carrying gender and others. Gender, section, class, card name, they are the same. So it is the marks of these subjects we should change. First we shall go back and unhide this range so that I can see fully. This is now false. What am I writing? False. Then I run it. So I'll come back and see the whole of this range, and I find out where English of term 2 is. It is in CG, CH, CI, CJ, CK, CL, CM. I'll come back and change that, starting with CG to the last. Come back and adjust that in term 2. Okay, I'm not here, I'm going in mode 2. In term 2, transfer macros function is where we are. So I'll come back to term 2. It is in I hope it is, I recall well, CG. Actually I'll be just adding C, so which means I'd done something which is easier for me to manipulate. This is C. I'll just be adding C, and C. G, H, I, J, K, L, and M. And the same thing to mass. Come back, find the range of mass, term 2. Mass, term 2. Actually, I'm just adding N still. So I'm just adding C. mass I'll add C, 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 C. To find the new range of term 2, then C. That is mass. So let me go to third term. For physics, chemistry, do the same. For this new range here, this new range of term 2, because it has changed, the marks of term 2 are going to be stored somewhere else. And then I'll go back to term 3 now. Term 3 function. I'll start with English. Term 3, I'll increase the sheet up to term 3. Term 3 here. English is in F. I'll just add F throughout. Go back, find this sheet, and then English for term 3 is in F, G, H, F, 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 and F. That is English. What about mass? Shall go back and find mass. Mass is also in Fn. Up to the last, I'll just come and add F. And add F. So you can do it for the rest of the subjects. I've spoiled the pattern here. F and F. So I'll come back and give some sample marks for this. Remember, this is still this student, the first student. I'll use myself. I'm the one of the first at the top there. So I'll come back to term 3. Activity of integration, English, maybe I got 3. Saying can't find a property. Okay, let me check. There must be something missing. This first cancel this. Let me first of all, I think, hope I didn't do that validation here. Let me go back to my macros. If there is something running, let me first stop it. So let me give 3. I also give 2. I give 3. Maybe we did 3 activities of integration. 1, 2, 3. You can populate as many as possible, provided your report card can accommodate, or you can transform them into average. Okay, let me go back. I'm giving myself some marks. End of term, maybe out of 80. Remember, this is out of 80. I'm sure I got out of 80. I got 80. And then it's not good to give yourself very little marks. Then the teacher, maybe the teacher changed this time around. Maybe it is DE, something like that. Mass, let me give myself some marks for mass, something like that. We did 2 activities here. Maybe I got 70. Anyway, maybe the teacher is someone like that. I think I did it for mass and the English. Let me go back to term 2. I give myself again some marks. I'll give myself 3. It's not good to give yourself little marks. Let me go for end of term. I got 79. The teacher is maybe OF. Teacher is still the same. So you may decide not to use this column again. You may decide to use the same of initials, OF, then mass. Mass also got 3, 2, maybe 3. End of term, I got 75. My teacher is the OJ, something like that. Those are some sample marks. I want us to try whether the marks we have entered here can actively be used on the report card here. So this button on the report card, again, if you find yourself on this video, we are doing a continuation of the past video which created this. So which means if you're here, you can first reverse back, find this content, then you can proceed. So I've entered some marks, so I can go back to my macros. and I think everything is good. Printing is okay. I didn't call the print function here. Anyway, that one you can follow the previous one and adjust. So we created three functions. This function is holding second term. Is it second term? Term 3. This one holding second term. So you just change basing on those ranges in second term. You change this one basing on the ranges of third term. As simple as that. So we shall come back. I'll come back to my mode 1 and I turn this back to true and I run it. So after running it, I'll turn back to English. Remember, I've added marks for term 2. Let me see whether they are there for English term 2. Go back to S1. I'll find the new marks there. I've just added for myself. If you go to mass, they are there. Turn to term 3. Come back to senior 1. Find English, marks are there. Find mass, marks are there. So what am I going to do? I'm going now to work on the report card. I think if you're following the guide, we have finished using the if function to decide how to activate terms, then adjusting the macros to 3 terms. I think this is what we're doing. Then we are going to finalize with ensure the code runs faster without freezing. Okay, I'll come back to the print report, this one here. Then this is the button. I'll go back to my macros. Now which function are we going to assign? I think I'll go back to mode 2. Which function are we going to assign? We are going to assign it this function. What does it do? It comes and checks if B11 is term 1 to run this macro, this function. If it finds when this range is term 2 to run this one, like that, until it finishes, until your project objectives are achieved. Now I have the print function here. On top of these functions, but at the same time I have to call it down here to print. So luckily enough, VBA does not work like maybe Java, which requires a function, maybe even Python, which requires a function. If you have to call it, it should be at the bottom. Sorry, to call a function you have to use, it should be at the top. Here you can place a function anywhere and call it anywhere you wish. I can decide to put this function at the bottom, then call it within this function. I can put it at the top, then call it within this function. It doesn't matter. So what am I going to do? I'm going to assign this button here, sorry, this function here to this button. So this is print. I'll right click on it, go to assign macro, and that is decider function for print, and click OK. So after clicking OK, it will now be deciding where are we. I'll turn to term 1. If I'm in term 1, I go to the S1 report and I try to print. It will say for sure here is where we are going to again encounter a very big problem. Remember, at first it rejected me to use a message box. Like I said, I'm using a Linux, which is not a native ground for Office. So what have we done? If you change this, I think, let me explain this. Somebody may do it and it works out. If you assign these macros, anyway, let me I may not need this message box. Let me try to comment it out. So say that if it is 0, it will just exit sub. I'll go back and try to print. Okay, I think it will work without that message box. And I say I want to print 1. If I try to print 1, to display the previous data. Let me turn the term to term 2. Term to S1 report. If you're working on Windows, like most people are working, the message box will work fine. But for me on Linux, not a foundation ground, for Windows applications, that is Office. So it will have to misbehave. So I turned this back to term 2, come back to the report and print. It is saying there's a message box in term 2 also. Remember, it is going to check term 2. They are now going to check term 2. It found that let me go back to the top. It found that B11 is 2. Remember, I changed B11 to 2. So I'll come back and also comment this. Wait a little, go back. Let me even comment term 3. This message box in Office running on Windows to work fine. Okay, this is now term 2. Come back to the report and print number 1. It will say number 1. Did I enter all marks for number 1? Because I entered for mass and okay, it has brought all those as marks because it got details from the previous lines. Let me change this. I want us to see exactly only what we want to see. Let me go to term 3. Let me start with term 3. I will select the whole of this area, and I did it for maths and English. I'll go up to biology. I'll select this. Then I'll go to view. I'll go to toolbars. Then I'll go for edit. So I'll bring this edit toolbar here, which can help me to use this comment block. These two, uncomment and comment. What I've selected, I'll comment the whole of it. Then I'll go up to this function of term 2. I did for maths and English. I'll select the whole of this and also comment it. So when it's selected like this, you can uncomment it, you can comment it, placing comments at once without selecting one by one to comment it. So I'll go back. I can fix this to sit inside here, to sit somewhere. So I'll go back and print 1. I changed print 1. Let me change the term to term 3. Come back to the report and print 1. Hope the macros are running well. Remember, like I said, actually I gave myself 3 to I entered for mass and the other one. Let me clear this. I think I'm free to clear this. Let me clear these ones here. If these ones I use the formulas, then I should not clear them. I should be careful when I'm clearing. Before, let me clear the marks. These ones here, because others I use the formulas. It is protected. Come to review and protect. Okay, I think this is okay. 80%. Let me also remove this because it was using the previous marks. So let me try number 1 again. It is okay. Do I have chemistry? I don't have chemistry anyway. Let me go and change this to term 2. Term 2. Then I come and change. Remember, I changed to term 2. Here also changes to term 2. Remember, we linked this using this reference to this sheet. If it is term 2 and I try to find number 1, click OK. It gets the person's marks for term 2. If I try to find number 2, number 2 has no marks. I only gave to number 1. That was myself. So as simple as that, we can achieve that. But meanwhile, adjusting those macros in these points can help us achieve that objective. Now, there is another thing I want us to settle. It is here. This one here. Let me go back and switch to term 1. Then I try to find marks for term 1. Okay, they're here. This is the thing. It happens that we wrote the formula very well, but it tries to find a value here and it skips it. Like I mentioned earlier, this is due to problems of rounding off. Rounding off. Now, what happens here? This value is 13.8. Remember, this is a sum. of this and this to get this value. This is 13.8. So immediately it comes and gets rounded off to 70. Excel will not understand this. Actually, I didn't understand giving it a comment, didn't understand giving it a grade and a comment. Now what are we supposed to do to overcome this? It is something you may not quickly see with your eyes, because during the time when we were doing this, I didn't see it. So when it happened to me when I was doing something else, that's when I realized, oh, there is something hidden here. The challenge is rounding off. So how can we handle this value which was going, because this is 70 and he's saying I can't see 70, and yet we are saying if a value in I13 is greater than or equals to 70 and a value in I13 is less than or equals to 79, and put comment 3. So for us to handle this, because when you add these two, let me sample it from somewhere else. If you add these two if you add these two with the decimal, let us try to let me do it somewhere like from here, paste them here. Not a good ground, it has been formatted. Let me use somewhere here. Now if you add these two, add 13.8. so if I say equals this plus this, I'll get 69.8. Now what does Excel do? When it comes at this point, it says, for my can see 69.8. I don't see 70, but here it is rounded off to 70. When you round off, it is to 70 after getting the sum. So Excel says, for my see 69.8. So what do you do if you are developing your own down there? You may need to include decimals for you to be able to capture everything correctly. Say for example, if we were here, we would allow this column to be up to 1 decimal place. This book is protected and protected. We would allow it to go up to 1 decimal place. I'll select this again. I was saying we would allow it to go up to 1 decimal place, something like this. So when I'm writing my comments, I would say if this range 90 point this up to 100, this may be okay, and then 80 flat up to 89.9, and then from 70 up to 70.9 we shall change the upper bound or the upper boundary. Then this one is 60 to 69.9, such that this 69.8 is covered. Let us try this, and it works as we may would have wished. So if you're developing, you may need to allow up to 1 decimal place. Here we took it down up to 0 decimal places. So the same thing to this. I think I don't need to write this afresh. Let me just continue editing this. So we shall continue and say we shall only adjust the upper bound to accommodate the decimals, which may come as a result of rounding off the upper value. Then 0.9 and 0.9. Now when I tried to bring this discussion somewhere of what is not happening, some people decided to run out from it. But it is something which is not easy to see until when you encounter it on several grounds. So it can as well see 59.3. So that is one of the things I wanted us to sort. Likewise, the same thing to this. This range is okay. We cannot say 100.9. We can only change this to 89.9. Change this to 79.9. Then change this to 69.9 to accommodate any round of errors which may show up. 0.9, 0.9. So somebody when I tried to share it, somebody was like, it's not necessary for you to use the AND statement. Anyway, it was something which is very hard to see until you experiment with it on several occasions. Anyway, I think that one is now sorted. Otherwise, I was trying to think Excel should do something to adjust something such that that misbehavior doesn't happen. But I realized you can simply add something to your formula such that it accommodates even those decimals. So I think if you were with me in the other video, we left when I'd said this thing was messing. Even myself, I didn't understand why it was messing. Anyway, let us proceed. Now, after setting up everything and the report card running, let us go to the last part of this. Ensure the code runs faster without freezing. Now, somebody was saying, this macro, it freezes. It's freezing my PC. True. When it is March, your PC will be freezing. What shall we do? We are going to introduce this. Okay. What we are going to do here is, first close this. What we are going to do here is, in these macros, this is what we are going to do to enable the macros to run faster. Sorry, it's what we are going to do. Now we are going to come to this function. Let me start with the one for, anyway, I think minimizing and maximizing ranges may not require a lot of, may not disturb a lot, but anyway, let us also work on it. First is to disable events. We are going to say application. Which application are you referring to? Excel application. Application.enable. I write enable. Enable events equals to false. So what am I going to do? I'm going to first disable all the events. So by disabling events, you can prevent unnecessary event handlers from running, and hence you can improve the speed of your application. Then the other one is screen updating. What does the screen updating do? This one helps you to significantly improve the performance of your application, because it first of all prevents the screen from updating after each action. As a result, it improves the performance of your program. Here's the application, that's the Excel application. Screen updating, we first set it to false. And then we shall later on set it to true. This is application, should start with capital A. Hope it does not misbehave. Anyway, it has formatted itself. So we shall come back at the end of this line, of this function, paste it here and change this to true. So it will activate all events, all the other events will activate themselves after this function has run successfully. So at the start, it will disable events, disable screen updating. You can also search about application.calculations. First disable calculations to go manually, then turn them back on. So here it turns back again, screen updating. So screen updating is where the screen keeps flicking. I don't know if I can call it flicking, but like it is blinking before something runs. So I'll put it on this function, and this function, I think this was a function for English. So you can put on the rest by simply copying this, pasting it here. Then when you paste it here, at the end, turn this to true, so that all the other events are enabled and everything will update itself. Likewise here, start with disabling events, and then at the end we shall enable them. That is true. It is true. So you can do it for the rest of the functions such that your macros run more faster. Come back to module 2. Now module 2, I'll start with print. I don't want print to also struggle. Then I'll also say this is true. Come back here and remove this and say this is true. I'll come back to this function. Immediately after ActiveSheet.protect, after unprotecting, after unprotecting, I want to now disable events. There are some drizzles in my background, just in case you may get them. So I turn this back to true. That's true. That's true. So we shall do for the rest like this. So you can do for all functions you have in your program like this. At the end, paste it here and turn this to true. Don't forget to turn this to true and this to true also, like that. And even for this term 3. So by doing this, your macros be a little bit faster. So while on term 1 I can print 1 and runs more faster. Then I can turn this to term 2. Just scroll back to the left, turn this to term 2, come to the report card, print 1. I hope where I am, I hope I'm not using one button was hiding. I hope so. Then term 1. What is happening? Anyway, this button is hiding for sure. Term 1. This is term 2. Let me switch to term 3, because those ones there was only one person and I'd entered a few marks. Terms person 1. Anyway, I hope the idea was got. So always don't forget to save your file. I'll save mine on the desktop. No, I'll not save it on the desktop. Save yours. I'll not save mine in any location here. So after this, we are going to the last area. We have finished the last area. Let us go back to explain the effect rounding off. I've finished. Then how to download YouTube videos. Somebody said I prefer to watch this locally on my PC rather than always having to visit YouTube. Then I have to spend hours. If I go off, then I should come again and search for that YouTube channel and then get the video and proceed. So this is where I'm going to explain something. Let me connect my internet. Okay, I'm now connected. Now let us visit YouTube. Okay, I'll come and visit my channel. I'll come and open a video. Say for example, I'll open this video here. This was the first video. Actually, this is the first video we are creating a reference to. So this is the video we are going to download. We are going to use the 3 approaches. Yeah, 3. I'll start with, if you're working on Windows. If you're working on Windows, you can come to your browser any browser. You can use Chrome, Firefox. I'm here I'm using Firefox, and search for add-on crop YouTube downloader, this one here. Then come and find this link. Which link is this? I think can find this link. And then come and click. Actually, this one, when you're working with Windows, it will allow you to add it to, it works as an extension both in Firefox and Chrome. I have not tried it in it is saying my browser is not supported because I'm working with Linux, but I've not tried it on Linux here before. But if it is supported, you'll come and click this button. When it is supported, you'll say add to this browser of yours you're using. Here I'm using Firefox. It will say add to Firefox. So when you click add to Firefox, it will add this, which works as an extension. So when you come to the video, it will show down here. Let me go and see one of the links which has that description. Hope I'll get it here. Let me see this. It has the description. Let me go back. Let me change this search for add-on crop. Let me search for this, then I'll come and find this link. So this one gives a guide on how to install everything. In the first case, this is a YouTube downloader. Like I said, if your browser is supported, it will say add to Firefox, add to Chrome. So the download button will come and be somewhere at the bottom of the video, somewhere here like they are showing. And then when you click on it, you're able to choose maybe the size and other things, then download an MP3. This an MP3, the same thing to an MP4, that is a video. The button will be somewhere here where you just click on and you get access to the video. So that is one. And then the next is this option. Come to your browser and search for YouTube downloader. So people have made YouTube video downloader. People have made several websites where you can use to download YouTube videos. Say for example this one here. For example this one, you have to open. Okay, I will not use this one. Let me check this one. Okay, this is the yt1d.com. Now this one you can use it to download any YouTube video. Come and select this video, open the video, go to the link bar here and copy the link. Come and paste it here. After pasting it here, it will first verify and find out, and will say this link is associated to this video. Then you can choose, you want to choose download an audio which is an MP3, or you want to download a video which is an MP4. So even the sizes are here which vary. Just click on download. So don't download the one which is muted. I don't know why they mute some. Download the one which is unmuted, which is for 85 MBs. So that is one of the options. Just come and click download. First copy the link, then come and paste it in this search bar while following yt1d.com link, and you will find and download a video of your choice. Just click download and it will go directly into your machine locally. You can now watch it at any time. Now what if you're working with Linux like I'm working? I'll first of all copy this link. So if you're working with Linux, you may be a little bit more safer. There are less procedures for you to follow. On Linux, come and open terminal on your PC. You can hold Ctrl, Alt and T to open the terminal. Then come and, while you're connected to internet, come and install something here, and we are going to install YT space DLP downloader. So how do you download it? Come and say sudo apt-get apt-get install yt space dlp, something like that, and click enter. Then enter your password. Here the password will not be seen, but keep entering. So it will say, do you want to install? I'll say yes. It will take a while. It will finish installation. After it has finished installation, I'll clear the terminal, and then I'll say yt space dlp. Then I paste the URL for this video. I'll come and copy this video link, come back to terminal, and I paste it here. Don't use Ctrl+C. Ctrl+C terminates a current running process. So this is the link to this video. After that, I'll press enter. So what is it doing? It's simply downloading the video, and you take a little few minutes and you have started downloading. So it is something like 117.98 megabytes, and you'll get it in your downloads. So I'll terminate this, Ctrl+C to terminate, and I'll clear the terminal. So that's how you can download if you're using Linux like I'm using. But if you're in Windows, there are several options. Follow this link, you can find this link. Great thanks to the people who did this, because it helps to download any video with ease. That is YT, this one here. I don't know whether anyway, you can go to your browser and just find YouTube download, and then you can use any, because there are several others. So that is how you can download a video from YouTube and use it locally on your PC without simply always going to YouTube, watch the video, come back, watch the video, come back. At times you're not having instant internet access, but you have to continue developing your project. So there are several other ways you can play with your downloads. So this is how we would develop a report card system which has term 1, term 2, term 3, even extended to years. You just have to manipulate the if function, expand the range of years you wish to accommodate. So we did for S1. You can do for S2 the same approach. Can do for S3 the same approach. Can do for S4. Now the beauty is you can minimize the amount of code you even write for S2 by simply coming here, and also let me add here class. Add class, then I'll add a list of items. I'll go to data validation. I'll use a list. I'll use the class as I have S1. We use capital letters. S1, separate them with a comma. S2, S3, S4, S5, S6. Then can put an input message, and I say class, sorry, title. Then a message is select class from the drop down. Okay, if it is an error, can put an error message and say this is an error, please choose class from the drop down, and click OK. So I can choose S1. Then I also center it, come and select it, come to home and put it in the center, somewhere there. And then after putting it in the center, I will now do something. What am I going to do? I'm going to go to the macros. I was trying to analyze what I'm supposed to do next. I'm going to go to the macros, and now what we are going to do, minimize the amount of code you write. What are we going to do? We are going to come to let us start with, because we are going to aim at sending marks to the report card, I'm going to come to this sheet. Now, because I want to use this very function, I'll come to this very sheet and I'll say instead of worksheets S1, I can change this, and I say this is I think what I was thinking about may not work well, but you can put a junction and say if it is term 1 and the class is this, you can switch these macros. You can switch these macros and it accommodates such that you don't write for term 1, term 2, sorry, you don't write for senior 1, senior 2, senior 3, senior 4. You only use the same line of code, you just twist it around to accommodate your condition. Meanwhile, it is drizzling in my background, so I'll beg you bear with the sound. Now, in case you need a workbook which is having that version of the code which accommodates both the terms, you can tap on me. Please don't call the number usually share. Don't call, just send a WhatsApp message and I give you that workbook. Not this one. This one I'm going to share it in the description, but I give you that workbook which is already processed, but at a simple cost. If you're in Uganda, only 30,000 shillings. So in brief, we have managed to create extended the sheet to accommodate more than one term by simply manipulating, going to the right. Make sure you make everything clean such that you can easily make any further changes. So after making this, don't waste time to come and make the same changes on this on S2. Just delete S2, then copy S1, copy, move and copy, then check this box, create a copy of S1, then name this as S2. Can again move it to be in front here. Simple as that. Just even change the senior series, something like that, because they use the same structure. So we extended this sheet successfully, and then we managed to, I've tried to at least explain how to download a video in Linux. Come and run this command and install YT DLP downloader, and then command write YT space DLP, then paste the link. After I paste the link and press enter, it will start downloading the video straight away. So you can use Ctrl+C to terminate the process. So in brief, that is what we managed to cover today, and I hope you found this content useful. And if you found this content useful, feel free to subscribe, share with a friend, like the video, and then create your own projects, because this is for learning purposes. But if you want the fully developed project with these features I've just explained, feel free to send me a message, drop me something on my mobile money, you'll receive the whole workbook. Thanks for watching, and let us meet in the next video.